Diversified. Classroom Management 101. Inclusive and diversified. Classroom Management 101. Inclusive and diversified. Classroom Management 101. Hello, everybody. This is Sheniynah Richardson of SheRich Educational Consulting, and I am here with blog number 6, using role play to teach. And this is one of my most favorite topics to talk about because while I'm an English teacher, I have a flair for the dramatics. So, let me walk you through a lesson that I have used that was fun and engaging, but it also gave students a strong sense of what citing evidence is and why it's important to cite evidence. So, here's my hook. I'm going to transform into my scene. Action. It's brutal in there, boss. The old man didn't stand a chance. Apparently, the suspect was spooked by the victim's synthetic eye and just snapped. Claims he was the old man's caregiver. Said he called us after hearing the victim's heartbeat. Never mind that he smothered him with a pillow and defragmented his body with a saw. Forensic are sorting through the pieces of the victim's body now beneath the floorboards as we speak. So, he dialed 911 to keep the old man from haunting him. Sounds like the suspect is setting himself up nicely for an insanity defense. End scene. That was my hook. So, the bell ringer question related to the hook is, what do you think? Make a prediction. Based on this nugget of information, do you think that the suspect is calculating premeditated murder, or did he do it on purpose? Is he a first-degree cold-blooded murderer? Now, what story is this? Quick quiz. Insert. ELA teachers, if you guess The Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe, you would be correct. Okay, I love this story. It's so dark and mysterious and spooky, and it really feeds my appetite for, like how they have the crime shows on TV, and yep, that's my thing. So, as you can see, my hook was a prelude to the bell ringer, or do now, or bell work, which was, did the suspect commit murder, or, was he criminally insane? For the intro of the lesson, I allowed students to share their answer, and of course, the students had questions like, is this a true story? Where did this come? Where did you get this? Where did it come from? And basically, all I was doing was building their appetite. I didn't answer any other questions. I was like, you gotta wait and see. So we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna get to that. In the next phase of the lesson, I provided a legal definition for what it meant to be criminally insane and the associated punishments and the conditions for first-degree murder and premeditated murder and the consequences for that. Subsequently, I assigned the reading passages with the focus, the reading task is to gather evidence to support criminal insanity or premeditated murder, as per the definition that I provided. So students had to annotate the packet for this information. If they found evidence that supported that he was criminally insane, highlight that yellow. If there was evidence that supported premeditated murder, highlight that green or whatever color they wanted to. And sometimes that information would overlap, and I would say, well, it's okay, you know. So that's where you have to build the information and come up with the consensus for, to make a sound decision. Now, this is the crucial part to this task. Put your sonar ears on for this. Now, I've used this text for 7th grade through 10th grade ELA classes, and the text has been a complicated one for even my most advanced readers. So what you want to do is assign the reading in intervals. Don't just say, read this whole story and find the evidence and just turn them loose. Because when you just turn them loose like that and you give them the packet, it just opens the doorway for disruptions to occur. So you want to assign 1 to 5 paragraphs at a time, then check in and assign independent reading for the next 5 paragraphs and check in. Do not make the mistake of assuming that students have the stamina to just read a complex text for 30 minutes non-stop, because again, you're merely opening pathways for disruptions to occur. Also, the annotating and task-driven reading, it also adds to the stimuli and the retention of the information. I mean, they're using it, they're digesting it, they're picking through it, they're pulling out the relevant information. So it's not just busy work, it's task-centered, it's focused. Otherwise, as I said, you will lose them, and your excitement and vigor for that lesson will deplete and diminish. And it's okay that students are challenged and that they don't quite understand everything, because it's a process of training them how to not just go on what you tell them, but to use their own minds, their own opinions, their own thoughts based on the evidence. So, to make sure that text was palpable for everyone, I would assign, reading chunks, set the timer, then we would go back and review in whole group discussion. Also, it's important to pre-number the paragraphs. So when you have to make reference to a certain paragraph, you could just say, hey, go back to paragraph number 5. There was information in there. Make sure that you highlighted this or you annotated that. And it just ensured the flow of the instruction, and it also closed those opportunities for students to misbehave. Now, another quick insert, I would also have already worked through the annotations, and I would have done it myself, because as I mentioned in another blog, you want to put yourself in the student's shoes and work out your tasks that you're going to assign the students to um, foresee potential issues that students may have. So, of course, I would allow students to work independently, but I would always come back and say, okay, check the doc cam. Make your paper look like mine. Whatever you don't have on your paper, look at mine as a guide and adjust accordingly. All right. So, moving forward, we're going to talk about the struggling students, okay? Because as I mentioned, this is a kind of complicated text. It's written in a different dialect from modern times. What would happen sometimes is a student would blurt out, "Is this for a grade? Because if it's not for a grade, I'm not doing it." And I would merely just stay in character because we're role playing. I would say, "No, this is not for a grade, and you do this because it is your job. It is your job to determine whether this man is insane or a cold-blooded murderer. It is your responsibility to collect evidence which will influence the outcome of this man's life. You have a great responsibility, and you should not take this lightly. So, thus and therefore, don't quit your job on the first day. We got to dig in deep, and it is your responsibility." So when I kind of flipped it like that, like I hired you and this is your job and this is what you need to do, then it kind of added a whimsical flair. And then, students were like, "Oh, it's my job. Okay, I'm going to keep trying." And because they're struggling, you don't just want to take it away from them. Let them struggle a little bit. It's okay. That's life. We're building that stamina and we're building character all at the same time. All right. So, again, I was like the head detective or, the judge. And like, when we did the group discussions, it was like, "Okay, officers, you have reviewed the evidence from the passages 1 through 7, and we're going to discuss the outcome, so forth and so on." And it was really fun. So, and that's what I kind of call a flash read, just reading in intervals, to make sure everybody was on the same page and understood what was going on, and students were motivated by the challenge. So, by day 3, it was time to compile the evidence, and we had a mock trial. Oh my goodness, it was amazing. It was awesome. It was great. And I'm going to run out of time, so I'm going to do a part 2. And in part 2, I'm going to tell you about that mock trial. Oh, it was bananas. You're going to love it. So come back now. I'm waiting on you. Come back. I'll see you in a bit.